interpolation and forgery.
Sorry. Right.
It wasn't written by Josephus. It was an insertion.
You asked me for the references. I'm giving them to you now. Do you have any way to record this? And can we record it on your phone so you can go away and look
No. I've done my research. I've got the information.
So
there's no mention by Tacitus.
For everyone
Josephus.
else. No, sorry. One second. I'm going to correct you. I'm going to correct you. I'm going to correct you.
Correct me. I want to see where they talk about Jesus Christ.
Are you listening?
Yes.
Right. If you're going to listen, that actually means you stop talking for a second, right? So, bearing in mind, he's arguing that it's a myth, which is a common argument amongst atheists that Jesus Christ is a myth. But here's why we know it's not true.
It's fiction.
Because
fairy story.
Because there were historians from the classical period that wrote about Jesus Christ.
There was not.
Now let me give you the references.
Yes, please.
Josephus writing 37 to 120 AD. This is the source.
Sorry.
This is the source.
When was this?
This is the source. Antiquities.
Sorry. Can you quote that date again?
Hold on 1 second.
Can you?
37 to 120 AD.
No,
so,
didn't happen.
Antiquities.
No.
Book 18, chapter 3, part 3, and in book 20, chapter 9, part 1. These
Where'd
are what
you get the
he
reference
says.
from?
I've just given it to you.
No.
Literally, I've just given it to you.
Who quoted that reference?
Josephus.
No.
Right. So let me go on and tell you what he says. Tell me what. Let me just go on to tell you what he says.
Okay.
He says that Jesus was a miracle worker, that he was a teacher of Gentiles and Jews,
not God,
who were his followers, that he was crucified under Pontius Pilate, which contradicts your Quran.
It's a lie.
Your Quran. By leading
that wasn't
Jews,
written by Josephus. It's an insertion. It's a forgery.
By leading Jews who stoned James, which is in the book of Acts, and that he was a breaker of the law. Sartorius, writing 69 to 140 AD.
Who was he?
In the Lives of Caesar. He was a classical historian. In the Lives of Caesar, in the sections covering the lives of Claudius,
never existed.
And Nero, writes this. He mentions Christ as the cause of trouble and the center of a new superstition. That's how Sartorius describes it. Tacitus, writing in 55 to 117 AD.
Yes.
In his book, The Annals.
Yes.
Book 15 says this.
Yes.
That Christ was crucified under Pontius Pilate, contradicting your Quran.
Okay, you see,
in the reign of Tiberius.
Now you're making up.
No,
it doesn't say Christ.
It does.
He says Christos.
It does.
It says Christos.
That's Latin.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And that's important.
Can you?
That's very
how
important.
How much Latin do you know?
Let me explain
how much Latin
why.
do you know?
That phrase.
Listen to the guy.
That phrase was used for various self-proclaimed
Christos.
Christos was used. Christos.
Yeah.
And many historians spelt that with an E and not an I.
Oh, there was no uniform spelling. There was no uniform spelling.
That phrase, and I'll expose you more in a minute.
No, there was no uniform spelling.
That phrase was a ubiquitous phrase used for various cult leaders or self-proclaimed godmen at the time.
Evidence?
That actually did exist.
Evidence.
I haven't got the evidence.
Oh, he hasn't got the evidence. Fair enough.
I haven't got the evidence on me right now.
No, you haven't.
But well, listen. I wasn't expecting to come here.
No, I accept that. I accept that.
To debate you. But
no, I accept that.
I will bring next week.
Please do.
Next week.
Yes.
We must meet here.
Yes, let's
and
do
I
that.
will bring the material that exposes the fact that phrase does not apply to one specific.
Right, that's fine. But in the absence, at this moment in time, in the absence of the evidence,
and
wait a second, this Christos, he says, was crucified under Pontius Pilate. So who is he talking about?
No. Well, listen.
Whatever the term means. He says he was crucified under Pontius Pilate in the reign of Tiberius.
There were various godmen preachers that were crucified.
It's going to look bad when I read the next bit.
At the time, right? There was no mention of anybody called Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Let's be clear.
Right? And
who is he talking about?
Well, he could have been talking about a whole slew of people that were around at the time.
Listen to the next bit. Listen to the next bit, because this
Right,
is what he says, Tacitus, 55-117 AD, in the book of Annals, number 15. He says, Christ was crucified under Pontius Pilate in the reign of Tiberius, a province in Judea, and his followers called Christians after Christ.
Right. Okay.
Who were the Christians?
No.
Who were the
What is he going to
Christians?
say after that?
Who were the Christians?
What is he going?
That's what he says.
Read the full passage. What is he going to say
This
after
is the
that?
summary of each point.
No. What is he going to say after that?
Do you know?
Yes, I do.
What does he say?
He goes to say that they are a false menace.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a false
I
menace.
can believe that.
They're
Yes.
basically insignificant.
Yes,
right.
that's
right.
fine. So, but that evidences the fact that he's talking about Christians who believe Christ was crucified. Where's he gone? He's run away.
No. Listen, there's a whole slew of people that to really aggregate your point and give yourself real credibility. You're going to have
people
to.
can make their own.
No. Josephus doesn't help because we know that that's a forgery.
Josephus, no, you're
Josephus is a
misrepresenting
forgery.
that.
We know it was done in the 3rd century.
Let me just deal with that.
We know it was inserted
Let me
in the 3rd
just
century.
deal with that. Let me
because
just
there
deal
was
with
nothing
that.
mentioned
Let
about
me
this
just
Jesus
deal with that. Let me just deal with that.
Hold
No,
on.
let me just deal with that.
Hold on.
You say Josephus was a forgery.
Yeah, that was a forgery.
The scholars,
It comes
the
right-
scholars of
What
the
scholars?
document, the scholars of the document of Josephus, they say that parts.
Where does
they
Marcion?
say
Where
that
does
parts-
Marcion?
They
Where does
say
Marcion
that
mention
parts. They say that parts of the
Of
the
course they
passage
do.
that I am
They're trying to-
talking about.
They're trying to hang
were
on.
interpolations.
They're trying to hang
However, the bit that you're not aware of is in the bit that I am referencing. I have accepted
I
that
know.
criticism,
No.
and I am using the redacted version.
Well,
I'm
of course-
using the
of course,
redacted version.
Christian apologists.
My argument gets stronger if I use the text
I'm
as
sorry.
expound.
Christian apologists use that slight foot of hand to try and hang on to some sort of credible substance to that passage. There is no credible substance. For instance,
You okay, sister?
Richard Carrier shows clearly that is an insertion because of the context.
You didn't listen to what I said, did you?
The place where
You didn't listen to what I said.
Listen, no,
You didn't listen to what I said. What
I'm
did
not-
I say?
You said
What
that
did I say?
scholars accept that part of it
Yes.
is an insertion.
And then what did I
We
say?
don't accept that.
I said that the
We-
summary of
people that-
Josephus is based upon the redacted version. In other words,
So-
I've already taken into account the criticism.
So, well, I don't accept that. That's a false, fallacious way of trying to hang on
No.
to something that has no credence.
Dr. Bart Ehrman,
right, don't-
Dr. Bart Ehrman,
He's a
argues-
pseudo-Christian. He can't let go.
He's an apostate that hates Christianity
he
and
does
has
not- he
built
does
a
not hate
career
Christianity.
about.
He
No,
does
you're
not
right. No,
hate-
that's fair. That's fair.
He does
That's
not hate
fair.
Christianity.
You're right. He doesn't hate it. He loves it as an academic subject.
He's invested
Yes,
totally
but he is an
heavily into the
apostate
concept that
who has
Jesus
built a career
actually
attacking
existed.
the faith, and he argues against mythology.
No.
So me and you will have a debate about the mythology.
yeah.
Listen, I'm helping you because this will help you prepare for the debate.
Yeah.
So Julius Africanus, writing 160 to 140 AD, in his book The
Way too late.
Chronography.
Way too late.
That's better than anything you've got.
No.
Chronography.
No.
In chapter, I think it's chapter 15, 16, 17, 18, he quotes Thallus and Phlegon, who were two earlier sources, i.e. he's quoting other sources that we've now lost, but he's quoting them because they were current in his time then. But they were earlier than when he was writing, so that's earlier than 160, 140. You see, you jumped the gun. Records, listen, records at the time of Tiberius Caesar that there were earthquakes and eclipses during the full moon during the 6th to the 9th hour.
Please, can you
You
stop
can't
this?
have an eclipse during a full
Can
moon.
you stop this?
But the
Can you
historians
stop
record
this
that there
blatant-
was.
This is a blatant deception. Listen, do you accept that Marcion was one of the first original church fathers?
No.
You don't?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Do you know who Marcion was?
I absolutely do.
Tell me who Marcion was.
Marcion was one of the first.
He was a heretic.
According to
Marcion
who?
was by the church. Marcion,
Well,
how could he be a church father if the church calls him a heretic?
Well, because he was one of the ones.
Go on, what did he do?
That established.
What did he establish?
That established the actual trend of the cult.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I'll tell you what Marcion did. I'll
And-
tell you who Marcion
and
was.
If Marcion would have used.
Marcion built a business in Rome,
There's
shipbuilding.
nothing. There was nothing in his.
You don't know
works.
anything about Marcion.
No, hold on.
You don't know anything about
Hold
Marcion.
on.
This is what Marcion did. Marcion redacted the canon and said that it was a redacted version of the Gospel of Luke and a selection of the epistles of Paul. And then he founded his own movement that denied that the God of the Old Testament was the God of the New Testament.
Absolutely.
So he's not a church father then, is he? There you go.
No. The fact
He
is,
was a heretic.
The fact is, if there was this passage written by Josephus,
Yes.
right?
Which there is.
No, hold on.
We actually
Hold
have
on.
the manuscripts.
Yeah, but when was it discovered?
I genuinely can't remember.
It was discovered around the 7th or 8th century,
And?
right, and the conclusions were of that discovery that that insertion was made around the 3rd or 4th century.
No, you're mischaracterizing.
Listen.
You're mischaracterizing.
Sorry.
No, you're mischaracterizing.
Please.
The point that you're mischaracterizing the document.
If those
The
materials,
document of Josephus
if those
has a
materials
description
were available,
that if I use
Josephus all the time. He
the
referenced him all the time.
entirety of Josephus's document, my case would be stronger.
Hold on.
But I've already accounted for the interpolation, and I'm using the redacted version,
that won't
by
help
the
you.
scholars.
That won't help
And you're ignoring all the other sources. Let me give you another one. In his letters, Pliny the Younger,
Forget it.
in letter 10,
Forget it. You're
96
too late.
to 97,
You're too late.
says this, that Jesus was worshipped, Jesus the Christ was worshipped as God.
Does he say Jesus?
He says the Christ.
Right.
The Christ.
And
was
the Christ,
worshipped
the Christos,
as God.
The Christos.
Listen. And then he says in the same part, Christians refused to worship Caesar, that they had a high moral conduct and met on Sundays. Who is he talking about? Who do the Christians worship? Celsus.
There are all sorts of Christian
Celsus.
sects. What you have to establish is that Christian sect applied to your God man.
That's easy.
That's what you have to establish.
I can
now,
do that.
now the way that
I can do that.
only credible way for you to do that is to establish historians of the day. When Jesus,
You mean like these historians of this day?
No,
Like these ones right
Let
here
me finish.
that I'm quoting right now.
Can I finish? Can I finish? What you have to do is quote contemporaries of Jesus in his day. Now, Jesus supposedly lived somewhere between 72 BCE to around 33, 35 BC.
AD.
AD, sorry.
Right.
Well, sorry, not AD.
AD.
CE.
No, AD.
CE.
Anno Domini.
CE. Let's keep it historical. Right. Now, what you have to do is identify an historian, right, or some sort of prominent personality, or some sort of scribe, or some sort of scholar in that time, in that period,
Yep.
right, within that time scale.
I can do that in 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're called Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, anyway.
No.
Anyway.
No. Way too late.
You see. You see.
I'm sorry.
Whatever evidence we present.
I'm sorry.
Those who believe in mythology
I'm sorry.
will simply change the goalposts.
Please.
They change the goalposts. If we give historians who are not Christians, they say they're too late. If we give historians who were contemporary to Jesus' own time, they say no, they're Christians. It doesn't matter what we do, the mythologists will believe what they want to believe. But I got another one for you.
Please.
Please,
I've given you.
in his
I've
writing,
given you the criteria that we need.
Origen,
given you.
Origen,
I've given you.
in his writing, the true word, quotes Celsus. Celsus lived before him in the time of Marcus Aurelius, in other words, circa 177 or before. And he quotes.
Way too late.
He quotes
Way
Celsus.
too late.
Well, Matthew, Mark,
Way
Luke, and
too-
John
no,
are contemporary, but they're
I'm
too
sorry.
late.
And
Anyway,
and
so-
Matthew, Mark,
so-
and John weren't real
so,
people.
listen,
and nobody knows who they were.
Listen, it says in Origen, quoting Celsus, that Celsus, who is a critic of the Christian faith, says that Jesus was a miracle worker and he was the illegitimate child of Mary because no one knew who his father was.
Please,
Evidence of the virgin birth.
It's just not good. It's just not good enough. I've given
given nothing but rhetoric.
No, I'm sorry.
And you're arguing against all the evidence.
There's no evidence.
What?
I've given you.
Case closed, guys.
I'm sorry. No.
You will believe. You have the last word. I'm going to go.
Okay. I've given you a credible time scale, a credible time period as to when you have to produce somebody of repute, scholarship, history expert within that time scale between 72 BCE or 33 to 35
You understand-
CE. I'm not. We can't go any later than that.
No, hold on one second.
I'm sorry.
You understand that historians don't work like that?
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Because
no, they don't.
Because Roman historians.
Let me just correct
please.
you. No, I'm going to correct you. No, let me correct you.
No,
have you studied history?
No.
Have you studied history?
Of course I have.
Right. So you've got a qualification. What was
No, I have not.
I have a qualification in history.
Well, good
Let
for
me
you.
just correct it.
Good for you.
This is what historians do.
But your
This is
brain
what
is
historians
muddied
do.
By religion.
This is what historians do.
Okay.
They take all the evidence and they don't care about the questions, because the truth is that a historian will scrutinize every witness. So when they looked at the Nazi testimonies of former Nazis, they doubted what they had to say because they were former Nazis. Yeah? Because the former Nazi has a reason to distort the evidence that he gives.
And right.
I was brainwashed. I was misled.
Look at the pot.
I was lied
look at the
to.
popcorn in the kettle.
Now,
look at the popcorn in the
thing, brother,
Listen.
is that historians will use all sources. They will use Tacitus, Soterius, Josephus, and they will use
they won't
Matthew,
help you.
Mark, Luke,
We're not
and John.
No, they won't help
When
you.
historians
They have no.
want to know about Jesus in the
they
first
work
century,
against, they work
don't
against
go
you.
to the Qur'an. They go to the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They go to the epistles. They go to Josephus, Soterius, Tacitus. They go to Origen, contra Celsus. That's who they go to.
Those scholars and those historians that you're talking about.
Bart Ehrman, Dr. Bruce Metzger, Dr.
Bart
David Wood,
Bart Ehrman
Dr. James
just
White.
makes it worse for you. Bart Ehrman just makes it worse for you.
I can't remember his
David.
David.
Let's get back to the time scale.
Those historians.
Let's get back to the time scale that I'm talking about. I quoted you a time scale where it would be more than credible for this character to have popped up in that contemporary history, right? Between I'll say again, between 2 to 7 BCE and 33 to 35 CE. Now, Roman historians were writing about all sorts of events, all sorts of
the empire,
of course. And clashes with other cultures, clashes with other religions.
Yep. Like Josephus was writing about the Jewish rebellion and mentions Jesus Christ, like that.
Please. Josephus was way too late. It was way after, right? So stop mentioning Josephus, and we know it's a forgery. Now, we don't. We do know it's a forgery.
You're asserting something, and you're mischaracterizing the text.
Listen, what?
Yeah, a little bit. He has been coming to the corner a while. He's obviously learned something.
I've given you a time scale where there were plenty of historians writing at the time. There were plenty of scholars. There were plenty of noblemen. There were plenty of recorders recording his contemporary history at the time that this supposed character was supposed to be around. Right?
What about Paul?
Okay, we'll come to Paul in a minute. You see, you're
I
just
want
digging,
to. I want to
you're
get.
digging yourself deeper.
Let's do this next week.
No, no,
Let's do.
you're-
I want to
you're
get a
digging
cup of tea and
yourself
coke.
deeper.
I
And
want to
let's-
debate you. I want to
Yes.
debate you next
Definitely,
week
definitely.
about whether Jesus Christ was a myth or a real person.
Absolutely, it was a
Let's
myth.
do that.
It was a cartoon
That's
character.
fine. Let's do that debate. What's your name, bro?
Isaac.
Isaacs.
Yes.
You can call me Bob. Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
I really need to go and get a cup of tea. I
Okay.
am frozen.
Okay.
So have a lovely day. We'll debate this next week.
we will.
I'll try to
and
get
next
here.
time I'll get my
I'll
material.
try to get here about 1:30, so we'll debate it.
Okay,
All
I
right.
won't be there that early, but
All right.
we'll
You look after yourself.
Hopefully,
Have a good
yes.
night, Isaac.
Thank you.
You take care of
Thank you.
yourself.
What's your name?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Adnan, look, I'm being racist.
What's your name?
Bob.
Bob.
Take care.
Take care,
God bless
mate.
Thank you.
you. So, no wrap up. A quick wrap up. Right, we're gonna debate this guy next week because there is this common myth amongst the most unthinking elements of our society that Jesus was a myth, and it flies in the face of all the evidence. And we are going to discuss why that is. Because he's not.
Thank you, Bob.
Right. Good night, guys. God bless. Peace be with you.
Hey, so guys,